Hello and welcome everybody to episode 3 of Rivals Unmuted. My name is Shibi. I'm joined by both Egylou and Nenn, guests from episode 1 and 2, my co-hosts for this podcast. Egylou, I'm going to start with you. How have you been? How is everything post, 1 week post season 7?
Yeah, man. Honestly, W update. Not too good in the queues right now, but everything's been good. Other than
We
that.
we can get into that. We can get into that later. Nenn, how is post 1 week season 7 on the console side? Because I know you're a big console gamer. How is everything with Marvel Rivals on that? Have you had time to play it? I know you've been super busy.
Yeah, no, I think it's pretty great. I really want to talk about the update because it's a
Mhm.
lot of positive things on my end in regards to it. So, yeah, I can't wait to get into it.
Yeah. So first thing I do want to talk about very briefly. I know you guys don't follow it as much, but I do want to kind of gauge your guys' interest as you guys are like more casual on that end. I just got done co-streaming or watching Marvel Rivals Ignite, the esports. I got done watching EMEA, and I mean, post 1 week post season 7, so they're on the patch that has everything but the Elsa nerf and the White Fox buff. So they're essentially like one hot fix patch behind, and the meta looks crazy, right? Jeff is being prioritized. Gambit is being left through. Elsa's being banned. Daredevil is amazing. Like, there's a lot of crazy stuff. I do want to ask, and Iju, I'll start with you. With Marvel Rivals esports kind of starting up again, with all the stuff they've done in the client and all the integrations they've done. I mean, you go in, you can see what games are happening. Do you have any interest in watching that? Like, do you think there's some sort of like, would you check out some games if certain teams are watching? I know you originally come from the Valorant side, and I know you used to watch a lot of VCT. Is there some of that same interest for you on the esports side, or is it like just something that is like whatever? It's a nice for the people that like it.
Yeah, I mean, like you just said, I come from Valorant, so that's a big part of the game is that esports, and how well they integrated it within the actual client of the game. Today, actually, which is funny enough, I didn't know we didn't have like the list to what we're going to talk about, but I was in there playing around with the like the tournament mode or whatever it's called on the game, and it was very intuitive. They have matches that you can watch within the game. So like, I know a lot of higher elo-ish players. Um, uh, the queues are forever, so you can watch a match while you're, queuing up or something like that, or it gives you something to do inside the game. But yeah, I love esports, and I was on my college esports team a few years ago for Valorant, and that's something I always like to watch because that is where you as once you get to a certain rank in the game, um you like to see what the peak of the game. It's kind of like watching the NBA or watching NFL, where it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, you can go play at the park, you can go watch, college basketball or whatever, but when you watch these people that play the game and have like a fundamental, like a superior fundamental understanding of the game, it starts becoming a completely different game at the pro level. So um I'd love to check it out, and I'm definitely interested to see. I was watching a few of the matches today, just to see what's going on, and yeah, it looks really good. It looks really official, and I'm excited to see what they're gonna do more with it in the future.
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool, all the integrations and stuff and whatnot. I mean, Nen, coming from the console side as well, like they have like console players or like controller players are pretty prevalent in Marvel Rivals esports, right? There's a lot of good, famous console or not console, but controller players. Like, I want to understand maybe your perspective, like the esports integrations and stuff. Is that something you've been a part of? I know you kind of like come from the FGC or used to watch fighting games. Is there that same interest for you as well?
I think the interest, much like Ijilu was talking about, the interest of seeing a game played at a top level, that will always fascinate me, no matter the genre. If I'm interested in the genre to begin with. But I, I will admit I'm not like super in tune with like the teams of the rivals esports, or anything that is not surface level. But I do tune into random streams or whenever things are going on, and I check it out because much like Ejili was saying, yeah, to watch these like players that dedicate so much time into this game, it's like having like a third eye moment where you see so many like things you wouldn't have expected when you're just playing yourself like in a ranked competitive match. And I don't know, to me stuff like that was so fascinating. But I couldn't really give any more insight in regards to how people in the console space sort of feel about this sort of stuff, but I would say I watch it very casually, to put it best.
Yeah. Yeah. I do have something to like kind of jump off of that. What do you guys think of like the argument? And I've seen this like repeated in many videos, like, we all of us make where we talk about high level play or pro level play. And the consistent argument I always see is like, oh, you're like, what's the point in trying to replicate these strats, or what's the point in trying to do these kinds of strategies if you're in like platinum or diamond? And I was like, well, in my opinion, the idea to do this stuff is so that you yourself become a better player, right? Doing the objectively right thing is still good in a game where it's very low quality, right? Like diamond, platinum, gold, or whatever, right? And as this knowledge gets out in the world, as the game goes out, the average level of the player base becomes higher. So like I've always wanted to know like maybe your thoughts on that. Like, do you think that's like a real argument? Like, or is it more like, you know, should people be trying to play to their level, or should they be trying to like look at pro play and trying to understand like what's happening?
I think it's sort of a mix between either just people want to see things that they themselves couldn't ever possibly do. And I don't mean that as in like, oh, you can't watch this and like hope to ever like be as good as certain players. But I think much like I was saying a little bit before, it's like anybody it's fascinating to see players play at such a high level that like I think it doesn't matter what rank you are. I feel like anybody could take something from it. Now, whether if they can execute it, that's a different thing. But I don't know. I feel like that fascination of not to sound like a broken record, but like yeah, just I don't know, seeing players be so good at a game is just it's always so interesting to me, at least personally.
Hey, Julian?
Yeah, just to go off what you're saying, yeah, I mean, honestly, so a quick little story here. When I used to play Valorant, I used to I was like heart stuck for a little bit in one of those bottom ranks, and when I got better at the game, like superiorly better at the game, and then I started like using on my alt account, there was a phenomenon that I found is that you made the right play, but the right play it's hard to explain. It's gonna sound like cope, right? Like you made the right play, but the other person played in a way that like like contrasted the right play without even knowing it. So they end up like shitting on you or beating you. So to your point of like taking so to your point of like taking things from like pro play and applying it to games, yes, you should take certain aspects of it and like, oh, okay, this is like in the mechanically the right thing to do. But for the people who are in the lower ranks and from anywhere from gold to like celestial, a lot of that stuff really doesn't apply because like I said before, when you watch these pro matches, the game is so different from your competitive like public matches that if you try to emulate something like that, you try to execute it, you would just get shit on. Only because that play only works against people playing a certain type of style, and these guys have coaches and scouts that like will watch the other team's vods, and they'll pick characters around this team, and they'll ban out certain things. So a lot of things that you see from the esports side of rivals won't necessarily apply to your games, but it's a good thing to know so that the higher you go in the ranks, the better you become, the more things you understand about the game. So yeah.
Hmm. I guess it's a kind of like dive, right? And like how like dive, depending on what rank you are, it's either really really OP or it's like not that good, because like higher level players or higher tier players can execute dive better than like bronze or silver players. And if there's like one dude smurfing on BP or something, he's just gonna like wreck your whole team.
Mhm. Yeah,
Mm.
and I think I always like preface a lot of my content that I make with like, hey guys, this is a video for people GM in below, because the higher you go, the more different the game becomes. And
Yeah.
really
Mhm.
for rivals is where I've experienced that like the most volatility is in rivals that I've ever experienced between ranks. So it's like you'll have a game and like literally within GM, well, you have a game where everyone's calming, everybody understands what to do. I'm gonna bubble this, I'm gonna let's combo this with each other, and then the next game you play, it's like we're on Wanda and Squirrel Girl. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Oh my
it's
god.
everything is very very volatile in Rivals. So yeah, I mean, that's like the most I've ever experienced in a video game is this the volatility in this game.
Can you attest to that, Nen? Is there high volatility? I feel like there
Dude,
is, right?
don't even. I don't even want to get started. The contrast you can get from having, like AJ was talking, like a team that is communicating, everyone's doing the right. You feel like you're unstoppable, and the next game you queue up, you get somebody that doesn't want to switch off Wanda. You get somebody that doesn't want to switch off Squirrel Girl, and it's just like this is just a complete 180 from the game I was playing like 5 minutes ago. So yeah, I don't want to
I
spew out too much negative energy on
well,
that, but
I mean, I guess I have it on our docket list. Placement matches, game quality. I do want to talk to you
oh
guys
my
about it before we get into like the overall feelings of season 7 in terms of like what was good and bad about the patches. I really want to talk about this. I don't know what it is, and it's not me just experiencing it. I feel like a lot of social media as well. A lot of people have been talking about it, where like this might be by far the worst placement matches I've ever experienced in
Oh
Rival
my goodness.
specifically. I don't know what happened. I don't know how, like, they implemented for people that don't know, they implemented a different or new placement system than the one we had previously. And like, you start at your rank, whatever you are, and then based off of how many wins and losses you get, you go up and down in your provisional rank rather than just getting a set rating after your 10. And like, I like look, I hover Celestial generally every season, C3 to C1 usually. I was getting in my placement matches, you get dropped down like 3 ranks or something. So I got dropped down to GM3. I was getting like peak diamond players in some of my placement matches. So I have no clue. I don't know. I waited 4 days. Did you guys do your placements off rip on Friday, Saturday, like the weekend of opening, or did you guys also wait?
Actually was on vacation.
Yeah,
That
same.
Yeah, so I was on vacation, so I didn't get back. And what I figured out in these placements, so every game you win, I looked, I did the math. So every game you win, you get 40 ranked points. So you win 2 games, you're at 80, and then you win the third game, that's when you get put up in the next division. So every 2 games you win, or every 3 games you win, you go up a division. And then it just keeps adding. So yeah, there's people who will catch that win streak. So my alt account, don't ban me, Rivals, please. But my alt account was in. So I finished GM3 in my alt account. I started Diamond 3. I am currently a higher rank on my alt account than my main because I went on a win streak on my alt account in my placements. So I'm almost back at my peak because I caught a nice little win streak in the placements. So I don't know. I've seen some games, like my games on my main have been laughably bad. I was telling you about this yesterday. Laughably bad, just horrible quality. It just seems like at the beginning of seasons, it's just very, very tough to climb because you have people that are not really supposed to be in the rank that they are, and then by mid season, that's where I figure like, okay, this is people have went on the loss streak. Guang Guang has taken the RR from them. There's
Gave
people
up.
the people gave up. People who have went on the win streak, who locked in, who were supposed to be in the rank that they are, locked in and went on a nice little win streak. So by mid season, it like evens itself out. But these this beginning of the season games have just been terrible, terrible quality.
Nen, did you share those woes, or did you hit a fat win streak?
No, I got a fat win streak. I got 10, 10 wins in a row, and
Whoa.
no, I lost half my placement matches.
Okay,
It was
damn. That's
brutal.
not that's not that bad. That's not that. I went 2-8 on mine, but keep going. Half is
No,
pretty
no,
good. I would be happy with
I
half.
yeah, I wish I recorded. Yeah, I just wish I did more content than what I do, and I wish I recorded those placement matches because those first, actually no, I won 4 and I lost 6. But those first 4 placement matches were losses back to back to back. And you would not believe some of the tales that I have of these 4 matches when I tell you that you're playing in a level because usually I hover around like Celestial 3, Celestial 1. So usually I would be paired you're paired with people that were in the same rank as you were
Yes,
before the season
yes.
reset. You would think some of these people would have the common sense to not just go out as a 4 DPS composition, to not go out as like an Adam and Luna composition, to not go out as Scarlet Witch against like two different tanks that just, are HP monsters like Groot or, Doctor Strange with a shield. I,
It
I don't know.
sounds
I feel like I can't I can't do it justice without showing it, but it was not a good time. That's all I'll
yeah.
say.
Yeah, it's really weird. The quality of my matches increased after I placed. Like okay, to
Oh
be
yeah,
fair,
yeah,
I'm on
definitely.
like yeah, it's really weird. Like I just noticed it got better. So like to preface, I'm on like a Hulk learning arc. I used to play a lot of Hulk in season 0 and 1 before like all the changes came in. I was like, okay, I want to like, this is like potentially Hulk season and all that stuff. Let me like go and relearn Hulk. So I did all my placements on Hulk if I could, like unless somebody else, like if there was like a Lord Hulk or it got banned or whatever. I went 2-8. I got absolutely slammed, and definitely some of the games were my fault, but like to your guys' point, there were some like animals in these games. Like I can't even describe it no more than that. It was so tough. And then like after I got out of placements, I started like now I think I placed in like Diamond 2 and I'm like 2 wins away from GM3. I played a couple games with Egylou I think yesterday and we hit like a nice little streak. I think we went like 3-2 or 4-2 or whatever, but yeah, I don't know. It's like the match quality got a little bit, like not a little bit, like a way better after placements. And I think a lot of people, a lot of content creators complained about placements this season. I think they got to scrap. I don't know what they should do. I don't know if they should just scrap the idea of placements. I'd rather just take a hard reset on everyone and then everyone just climbs up. I don't hate that system, but I don't know how you guys feel about that.
Um, like hard reset as in because like a
I
hard
don't mind going
MMR
back like
reset.
6. Yeah, maybe like just go like we only went 3 ranks back. I don't mind if we just all go 6 ranks back and then that's it, right? And then like I don't know, maybe that doesn't solve anything because like
Well, remember that's what they did before. They would drop everybody down like 9 ranks. So what ended up happening is that they would hard reset everybody. Then you'd have people who were legitimately trying to like learn the game, uh
yes,
like
go
down,
against
no,
people.
if you remember,
Yeah.
because they also were putting people like in gold and stuff like that. And then you had the chrono shield, so you had people trying to, I think it was 1.5, where literally the most boosted season out of any season ever, because you had the chrono shield, you had people that were legitimately in the ranks that they should be in, which is these lower ranks, gold, plat, or whatever. And then you reset everybody. You reset everybody down to these ranks, and then now they're playing with legit golds and stuff, and it just made the match quality even worse. So I actually don't have a solution for them what to do.
I can't,
Um,
yeah, I can't figure it out. Like I
in
don't
in
know.
Valorant, what they would do is kind of similar. They would make you play 5 games from scratch, and they would reset your rank completely. It would, they had like a hidden MMR, so like they would know where you are
Yeah.
exactly. But like based on those games, you would go up or down, but you wouldn't go super far up like you do in Rivals, right? You wouldn't go from, like I said on my alt, I was Diamond 3. I wouldn't go from Diamond 3 to GM back to my peak right away. You'd have to like uh, work for it. And then once the game realized, hey, this guy's maybe not supposed to be in this rank, they would give you like, 30, 35 for a win, and then it would try to get you back up. So I don't know. I don't know what matchmaking for Rivals has been one of the most like talked about and contested points ever since the release of it, with whether it's the EOMM or just the quality of games. So I don't know what they should do.
Um, is Valorant? Because I'm not familiar with Valorant at all. Like I know it exists, but I've never touched Valorant ever before.
That's good. That's good. Keep it like
Yeah.
that.
In comparison, does Valorant ever get like that at like at some point where it just feels like you're playing with like animals or something at the start of a season, or is it
The-
usually all like pretty chill?
I think for the beginning of the season, because of how the game is structured, right? You get into the game and you're kind of like stun locked in there for 35 minutes minimum. Um, 30 to 40 minutes.
It's true.
You're kind of stun locked in there. So the first 5 games, at least are people legitimately trying because they know they don't want to get stuck. Around mid-season, it's kind of the inverse of Rivals, where like around mid-season, that's when the trolls start coming out. That's when like people really are finding out their heart stuck. So they're like, all right, I'm gonna troll. I'm gonna whatever, just use whatever agent and just run it down every game. And just the community itself, it's kind of a weirder community than Rivals, if I have to say. So at the beginning of seasons, Valorant games are very, very good quality. So I don't know.
Might be just a
Okay.
mentality.
Yeah.
It might just be a match. I think placements also. It's like a symptom of matchmaking almost. Like if you have bad matchmaking, no matter what you do to your placement system, you're not gonna fix it, right? You could do whatever placement system you want, but if you're having games where like peak Celestial players are getting into lobbies with like GM3 players and Diamond 1 players, doesn't matter what form of placement you do, doesn't matter. Like that match should never happen in my mind, but it
Yeah.
does. It happens consistently. Where like you look at the guy's profile, this guy has never been higher than GM3. And like I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but if you're somebody like me or Nenn or Egylou who has like hit Celestial 3, who hovers Celestial 2, like that kind of stuff, the skill difference is massive and like you can feel it. Like, why am I getting matched with these players? Now, is the issue there's not enough Celestial players, so you have to get from a bigger batch? Sure, I can understand that. But like Guang couldn't slide me a GM1 player, like a GM2, you know what I mean? Like it's really interesting. The further they open up the batch of eligible players for matchmaking, which is MarvelRivals has always been like this. They care about fast matches. The quality is not that important. Like, that's going to happen. It's going to degrade whatever placement system you put in. The placement system only thrives if there's a good matchmaking system, which maybe I sound crazy, e.g. I haven't played Valorant in a hot minute, and I've only peaked like plat in that game. But I felt like the matchmaking, aside from like Smurfs and stuff, I always felt like there was a pretty even chance like I could win or I could lose based off of a handful of decisions or how certain rounds go.
I actually wanted to comment something. Have you guys, whenever you get like games where you're like, how is this person in the same rank as me, or how were we in the same rank? When you look, have you ever like just just looked at their profile, like the
All the
career
time.
profile on
All
Rivals?
the time. All the time. I
And
do
have
it
you
on
noticed?
stream.
Yeah, have you noticed how much time? Like, do you go to how much playtime they have overall in the game, or is that something you guys don't look at
Ooh,
right away?
I don't look at right away. Actually, that's
Because I
true.
will say, as of for this placement, I usually always do because I'm petty like that. But
Oh hell yeah. Oh yeah. No, I got you. Yeah, me and Ijilu do the same thing. You're good. You're good. You're in good
yeah,
company.
I look at the playtime specifically, especially when I'm doing like if either I'm from GM or getting to Celestial at that point, and I see so many people have like hundreds, and I mean hundreds of hours put into the game within like the last season and before. Like I've seen total hours of this game for people that are in like high GM, low Celestial games that have hit like 4 digits, like they're already over 1,000 hours. And me, I will say I only have like 500 hours into Rivals, which isn't a lot to begin with. So at least in the grand scheme of things of like a competitive live service game, I'm wondering if it's just people that have clawed their way to their rank because they play so much that they somehow end up just finally just making it because they just put in the grind uh, in ranked so much that they just eventually make it to that rank. And those are the players that I'm getting. At least for me, my personal experience, that's what I'm noticing. I don't know how it is for you guys, but I just wanted to factor in, playtime into how far a person gets into a ranked game for Rivals or maybe any other game, but
I,
for
I
specifically for Rivals.
I might start doing that. I don't know. I'm one of those people. I have 1,000 hours on Steam, but I don't think I have 1,000 hours of competitive gaming. Like I think I have like 600 hours or something like that. Because I play a lot of quick play with my friends. I also spectate. I make content off of the game too, right? So like when you're logged in on Steam and putting hours, it doesn't factor that. So I would have to see my competitive hours, but yeah, a lot of the time, I will say, I think you might be onto something. You might be right. I don't think they ever fixed like the you gain more than you lose thing, right? I don't think that even happens in select. I think it only happens once you hit like C3, where you can go like plus 19 minus 24, but I think everything up until that they haven't fixed. I don't know, Ichilu, do you notice the hours? Do you look at the hours at all?
Honestly, I'd be lying if I told you I sit there and check people's profiles because once I lose a game, that there's good losses and then there's just losses. Like yesterday we had that game where we were questioning, does that even count as a real? Were there real people in the game with us or what? I'll just go on to the next. But they've never fixed um that part of the game where you can play let's say I am a platinum, or okay, let's say I'm a diamond player. If I play enough, I will make it to GM, because just by you gaining more than you lose, um you'll always, if you play long enough, you'll always climb. So if you have like 1,000 hours in the game and you're not GM, it says a lot about who you are as a person. Um but if you got 1,000 hours, you're like at least GM. I've done a new thing on my channel where I start VOD reviewing people. So now I'm starting to look at a lot of people's games and accounts, and I've had this guy that's never hit Celestial, but he has 1,100 hours on the game. So I'm like, oh, what's I'm VOD reviewing him, and it's just a lot of people not knowing what they're doing wrong in these games. And they're playing the game very, I want to say like autopilot, or
Off
they're just worried
instinct?
about, yeah, just like they're not looking at the bigger picture, right? They're not looking at how a lot of these people that I'm bot reviewing, they're not looking on how do I get value out of this, despite me not getting this kill. Like if it's not on the scoreboard, how am I getting value, right? Um, where if you're like, for example, you go touch their support in the back line, right? Although you haven't gotten the kill, or you haven't gotten the final, right? Because I talk about this. I'm a very big proponent of final hits not mattering. If you're like distracting their supports, or you're making space for them as a tank, but you're doesn't translate in the scoreboard, you're still good. You're still doing great as a player. But a lot of these people get wrapped up, especially the lower elo guys. They get wrapped up into, look how many kills I have, look how many finals I have, but the impact, the things you do in a crucial moment, you're not um you're not like winning games because of that. So yeah, like time played is definitely a factor of like, there people just play the game long enough, they will rank up to GM, unfortunately.
Mhm.
That's how the system works.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and to me, it's like usually, I think the best way to learn a game is obviously playing it. You just kind of play it. At least that's when it comes to like fighting games. You might not know a lot of things, but the longer you play it, the more the sense comes naturally to you. But of course, then there are some people where it takes significantly longer for that sense to come to them. And one thing that, at least from my little circle of space, I don't really see people talking about the need to improve themselves. Like nobody like does any like aim training. I'm not saying you have to, but like nobody like runs practices on their weaknesses. At least from my circle of folks, but they just kind of play the game more and more and more, expecting like, oh, I'll just get better. The longer I play, and I think I'm not going to tell anybody how to play, but I think that kind of mindset is a little bit detrimental when you don't know exactly what your weaknesses are or acknowledge what your weaknesses are as a player. So, I just
Y-
kind of wanted to throw that out there.
I'm happy that we all come from fighting game circles. Like obviously, Ichigo, you were like a top Injustice player, right? Like you were really good.
Yeah, Justice
Yeah.
too. I was,
Injustice.
Injustice too, huh?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, obviously, Nen, I
Oh.
know you're obviously from fighting game circle. I followed fighting games and I played like Smash and like other fighting games a lot. So like the thing with fighting games is that it very quickly points out your own weaknesses, whether you want to acknowledge them or not, right? Like you very quickly realize, oh, I suck at like
Yes.
anti-airs, or I suck at juggling, or I
Yeah.
don't know how to take space or like
Yeah.
use space, right? Or whatever, zoning.
Hmm.
I don't know how to fight against zoners. And like that need to improve comes from the innate realization that like, oh, it's me. Like I can't really blame anyone else. I can't really blame other people. And like, granted, fighting games, a lot of modern fighting games and even older ones have like combo practices. Like you can go into a practice lab and you can lab stuff out all the time. Like you can literally sit there for hours and work on your own craft. But I think that's lost with like modern online competitive gaming. Like honestly, like maybe this may be like a boomer take. I feel like people are just not as hungry in Marvel Rival. Like they don't care about
Exactly.
like,
Thank
they
you.
care about like winning, but they don't care about like being the reason they. I don't know how to explain it, bro. I don't know.
No, I
Am I
understand
right?
exactly
Do
what
you
you're
know what I
talking about.
mean? Do you notice like they're not
Yes,
like
yes.
there's
It's
no
not. I
competitive
promise
drive.
you. I promise you, this is not a boomer take. You know, there's some years between me and you, Shibby. But
I'm 30, dog. Look, I look like I'm 30. It's okay. Like I'll admit, I just turned 30 the past 2 weeks. Like I was on vacation, but like I don't know what the shift happened, and like dude, just people don't fucking care about like getting better and winning the game. Like they only
Mhm.
care about winning if they can do it on their own terms. I guess is maybe
that's the worst thing is because I'm literally sitting here and I'm watching some guy bitch and moan how they can't play this character or my team banned their like the character that they were hovering. Now I'm gonna throw the game. This isn't
Oh
a
my
game
god.
thing. This is more of like a integrity issue, right? I am I don't know, maybe it's the way I'm raised, maybe it's the way I've been playing games my whole life, right? I refuse to hold a lobby. I know it's 11 randoms in the game, right? But I refuse to hold a lobby hostage, right? Because I don't like what somebody said to me. All right, cool. This guy says I'm dog shit at the game. All right. Does that mean that I'm gonna sit here and get my undies in a twist because he said that? No, okay. You called me ass. That's fine. I don't know you. You don't know me. We're gonna play this game. I'm gonna win this game. I'm gonna carry this game, show you that I'm not ass, and I'm never gonna see you ever again. Okay. I don't understand this whole thing where like people get into the game, they make it personal, they cry, moan, complain, and then they throw the game. Back in my day, yes, I'm gonna sound like a boomer. Back in my day, we're playing Call of Duty. We're playing even back to Overwatch 2017, 2018. We're playing games and we're running. Nobody was running games down. Like there was, you get the occasional one or two throwers, right? But nobody runs games down like I would say like 40% of the time. I feel like there's somebody running a game down, and they like whether they know it or not, they're running a game down, and I'm like, I have to like literally intervene. I'm like, yo, can we group up? We need to group up. Stop staggering. This is all stuff that's like level one information that you should already know before coming into rivals. But now I gotta sit here in my GM lobbies talking about some guys. If we keep going in and dying and never have a team fight, that's how we get rolled. I have to explain it to them like that. I just went on a rant there, but damn, bro, like that gets
Nah,
me
go off.
so
Go off.
it gets me so mad. It gets me so mad that I'm booting up into this game, right? Yes, I'm getting on the game to have fun, then I'm also getting on the game to win and to scratch that competitive itch. But at the same time, you are making it very hard for me to do that whenever you're bitching and moaning about this. And because you're not winning on your own terms, because you can't play anything other than Spider-Man, now we have to all suffer, right? Now you're on Black Widow, right? Now you're holding my lobby hostage. Or the, you know what? One more thing before I pass it off. Or the people who run into one lick of adversity into the game where we push twice and we don't get it. Yo, FF, bro, it's over. Huh? Over, bro. We still got 3 minutes left on the clock. Let's figure something out. Let's strange TP. Like, let's do something. I don't know. Let's try to just get on the point, fight on the point. Nah, let's FF is over, bro. Oh, we don't stand a chance. They're better. What do you mean they're better? We all the same rank. We all here somehow, right? What do you mean?
Egylou got that never FF mentality. I will say sometimes after a half, my mental does get chalked, but like sometimes I just hear Egylou in the back of my head, like we can win this. Like I just hear him in the back of my head sometimes. Maybe I'm older, bro. I'm just like, man, like sometimes games like mentals are chalked. I don't know. Nenn, am I a fucking boomer for saying like people like don't want to, like they're not hungry, or I don't know, whatever the terminology is. Like, do you feel that? I don't know. I feel like we've all been gaming for a while now, so.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's people are just lazy as shit or they just I don't know because there's so many times where you know how there's a surrender option for rivals. I never ever, and I pride myself in saying this, and never use the surrender option. Right? I'm granted, whether my vote counts at the end of the day doesn't matter, but I don't understand, much like Ijilu's experience, how people can just be 3 minutes into match, or there's still like 3 or 4 minutes left, and people already want to throw their hands up and call it a day and be like, up, next, let's just go next. And it's just like, I don't know how somebody could just queue up for ranked with that kind of mentality. I don't want to go on a rant because I think Ijilu spoke a lot for what I
That's
felt.
the whole point of this pod, bro. That's the whole point. It's all about rants and just yapping. But like, yeah, I think Egylou just like, I don't know. You just like, like when they do the spirit bomb and freaking Dragon Ball Z,
Oh,
Egylou
yeah.
just got like my and Nenn's energy and everyone's. I felt that in my soul, bro. Like people don't want to like that.
Dude, I had some, I forgot. I obviously I don't know. I'm not gonna know their name, but somebody was playing Magneto, right? They were not a good Magneto. They were going 7-14. They
Happens.
were
All right.
they were second tanking with somebody. And I told them, okay, hey, so and so, how about you just get off Magneto and you just swap supports with me? Because at that time, this might be just a tangent on its own, but I have a problem, a personal problem, where I feel like I have the need to fill for my team so much that I feel like it's a detriment to me, because when nobody else wants to switch, like I see my team and I ask them, hey, do you want to, what role are you going to play? Blah, blah, blah. They either don't communicate or they just don't switch off the character or role that they're doing. So I'm stuck just kind of feeling, because at the end of the day, I want to win too. I'm not queuing up here to lose. So, but anyways, 7-14 Magneto, complete dog shit. And at the very like last second of the match, I get on comms because nobody was on comms, and I said, "Hey, Mag, can you just switch to third support and I'll just fill for you?" And he types in the chat something that I was just a complete disbelief. I wanted to put my controller down and just catch my thoughts right there. He said, "Oh, nice comms at the end." And then I said, well, what do you mean by nice comms at the end? And essentially what he said was, you could have told me earlier.
Oh.
As if I needed you. Like, as if you needed me, or GM1, to tell you that you're doing bad and that you should switch. I was like, yo, oh my God.
Don't get me started.
Anyways,
Don't get me started on
yeah.
micromanage. Don't get me started. I had that rant last week. Egylou. Remember, I was like, dude, I hate having to tell people what they
Yeah.
have to do. Yeah, I don't know. There might be like an overall gaming culture problem. I don't think it's a issue exclusive to Marvel Rivals. I think it's just an issue that's been happening within, you could say, like the last decade, maybe last half decade. I know like League, natively I come from League. Like that was my like main game for a long time. Throwers and stuff were super, super abundant in that game. Like people would just queue up, and again, if they're not the hero, then they get mad and they throw, right? Valorant, I'm sure, has had the same issue. Like throwing culture is super prevalent, or was super prevalent there. Late Overwatch as well. I will say that early Overwatch period of like 2016 on release to like 2019, bro, like people could hate each other. Like they would argue, but they would always try to win. Like it was really weird. Like I would argue with my teammates back in the day,
Yep.
and I would still try to win. Like I'm still going to try to play the game. Nothing you say outside of like straight race, like obviously there's some stuff like I'm not going to help a racist person win, or I'm not going to help like a truly bigoted person win or something like that. But like I'm gonna mute up and I'm just gonna be like, all right, cool. Like I'm never talking to you. You're getting no comms from me. Like you're not gonna be able to hear me. And that's fine. But like I'm gonna try to win the game. I don't know. Maybe that has something to do with like the matchmaking and placement quality. But enough about that. I do want to actually hear your guys' thoughts on the actual gameplay changes of season 7. We've had 1 week so far. Patch released last Friday. We're recording this on March 27th. Everyone will be able to hear this on Sunday when it releases, but I do want to get your guys' thoughts. Nen, I'll start with you first on season 7. Just overall, like a feeling, right? We don't have to go super specific into like the nerfs and buffs until a little bit later, but like overall thoughts on the season in terms of like game flow, what you love, what you hate, unexpected, maybe some unexpected stuff that turned out to be really good, or like whatever. Like what is like, is season 7 as people are saying, is season 7 the best season of Marvel Rivals ever?
Me first, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, season 7, right off the bat, my impressions, even from reading the patch notes, I super super hopeful for it, right? And then actually playing it for like, the last few days it's been out, I think it feels pretty good. I think the ultimate change, you feel it. I think that ultimate
Yes.
change that it did, you feel it. I think there are certain characters that got some, questionable changes that are like what was kind of the reason for this? I think a lot of characters got much love. Granted, some could use some work. Like I think Blade. I I don't put much time into Blade, but I've heard mixed things from people left and right, whether it's like these are good changes and these are like changes. Hulk got some, buffs here and there. And knowing that what they're cooking up still in season 7.5 or for season 7.5, I'm over the moon. One thing that I will say that's unexpected about the season, well, kind of unexpected, expected, kind of expected, but whatever, um, is just how much some people relied on the ultimate slot that we've had for Rivals for a while now, because a lot of people would say that Marvel Rivals had no neutral, which is not true. Every game has no neutral now. Whether it's a good neutral or bad neutral, that's a different discussion. But a lot of the neutral for what was being played for this game was just it was all too reliant on ults. That a lot of people have been playing this game that way. That it's almost now that that's gone, and or at least reduced in some way, shape, or form. They kind of don't know what to do in the in betweens as well as they did before because alt takes slower. But that's something that I noticed in my games personally. I don't know if you guys have noticed it, but those are my impressions for season 7. They're good season, great season. I'm looking forward to it. Do I think it's the best season of Rivals? I think this is just because of the honeymoon phase. Season 0 will always be my favorite season of Rivals because yeah, everyone had stars in their eyes for the game, right? So
Yeah, 0 through 1 was
yeah,
different, man. 0 through 1 was different for
yeah.
sure.
I would say season 7 though is probably the best season we've gotten since.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I definitely feel the ult changes and stuff like that. I've been playing a lot of Hulk, and like it is like super fun to like being able to jump around and like being able to pop my ult and not just get like instantly countered. Like you still CC machine, still CC slop a little bit, but like obviously like you mentioned, then the changes that are coming in 7.5 with like the CC changes, I'm really excited about that. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's probably gonna be like diminishing return CC, where the more you get hit, the less effective it is. Like up to a cap, like max is like 50% less effective. So like a 1 second stun at the end of your duration is like now 0.5 seconds, so you can actually like play the game. But no, I've been really liking the season. Other than the match quality and stuff, it's really weird. It's funny I say it. I was like, this is the most fun I've had losing. Like I don't know how to explain it. Like it's the most fun I've had losing because like when I play the game and when I move around when I play it, like you said, there is a slower neutral. It's more methodical, but it's also more engaging. I think it really does kind of like make you think. People used to play the game just to farm ult, and you still do that to an extent, but now you're playing the game to like throw people off of high ground, or you're looking to like plan the next fight, and you actually have to like really methodically plan the next fight because you can't rely on an ultimate being back up in like 30 seconds or a minute. I don't know, Ichilu. Are you having fun losing in this season, or like what is your thoughts?
I don't know. I people have been hailing this as like the greatest season of all time. I'm not gonna say that it's not. I'm I haven't gotten to a rank where like I could really, really feel the changes yet. I feel like those changes really apply like when you get into really high elo, where the game like feels better. I think anything like diamond and below, it's gonna feel like slop most of the time. But honestly, my favorite season, and maybe there's a little bit of a bias, but I'd say the best season we've had so far, and I don't know if a lot of people remember this, was the Daredevil season 4.5. It was right after Angela. I felt like in season 4.5, it was the most fun. In terms of like the meta, we had just gotten done with we had
The
just gotten
torch,
done
right?
with the flyer
Yeah.
meta. We had that was the first time in the game's lifespan where like all three like play styles were um were viable. I feel like, but you could poke, you could brawl, you could dive, and it was all viable. I think after that, that's when it kind of like went a little bit downhill. Like, you start getting like that poke slop meta that people talk about. But this season, in season 7, just to bring it all back, I like what they did. The ult change, you definitely feel it more. Like that 20% reduction. A lot of times I'm playing and I'm like, damn, it's taking me a little bit to build up this ult. I feel like I should already have my ult by then, but like that's the intended purpose, and it makes the games feel a little bit better. And yeah, like I said, the really really important thing, and I know for you Shibby, you hear me complain about it every time we play, is that CC thing.
Yeah.
Remove all CC out the game. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, that chain CC reduction is going to be very very good, because there's that clip that you just posted on your TikTok, Shibby, where you're playing Hulk and you're just, you get webbed, you get stunned, you get whatever, and you just lose all. It's not fun to play a game whenever you can't control your character. So yeah, I think outside of that change, I think the next season, or season 7.5 or 8, whenever they institute it, that's when the game will be like at its peak enjoyment. But what I am another thing I want to bring up is like what I am scared about is, we if everybody here has played Overwatch, and one of the reasons I stopped playing the game Overwatch was because of how balanced the game was. I think Overwatch perfected balancing, in my opinion. This was Overwatch 1 before they rebooted, and the game kind of died because everything was like super super balanced. And I think the charm that Rivals had in season 0, and season 1, a lot of it was tied to the fact that like there was things that are, instead of nerfing stuff, right? They would just buff other things. So like, everybody's overpowered. And I think that NetEase has already picked that direction of the game that they're going to. And I feel like sometimes they go back on it, where it's like, oh, we're not balancing this game. They said, one of the first things they said was like, we're not balancing this game for competitive people. We're not balancing it for esports. We're balancing it for maximum fun. And, if you want to take competitive serious, you can, but just know that we're not balancing the game for you. So sometimes they go back on that and they like tone things down. I'm all for things being overpowered, but just, let's have other things be overpowered at the same time. But that's what I'm kind of scared for them, going down that route of like balancing the game, making everybody happy, and then it comes to the point where like, oh, this game's kind of like whatever,
Yeah, I actually kind of wanted to add on that because a lot of people will, I mean, and I do this myself too with the videos I put out, but a lot of people will talk about, balance, balance, balance without really knowing what that would entail or what that would mean. Because like you were, Egylou was saying with like what happened with Overwatch 1 is that like people are going to be asking for so many things of like, oh, we got to make this character balance, or we got to, this needs to be different, or blah blah blah. And no one really looks at the bigger picture of how that can affect the game overall. Because could you imagine if like NetEase did decide like, oh yeah, we're going to make this the most, balanced game we can possibly be. True balance will never be a thing, but like the only thing you'll get from that is a much less interesting game than what you started with, where characters just don't do as much as they did before, or they don't feel. Because another thing is that NetEase has always described Rivals to be like this sort of power fantasy of Marvel characters. So going an approach to where it's like it's all about balance, I think that just also would go against that vision that they've had. And they had that vision for a reason, because I feel like they know that a lot of people, it might be a case where it's like they know what people want even if they don't know themselves. And I'm kind of finicky on that sort of thought process, because sometimes it's like it's a little bit more nuanced than that. But I think in the case of Rivals, um to anybody watching that's like saying like, Rivals should be balancing on like competitive play and like this and that, you don't want that. You do not want that. But yeah, that's all I'll say for
I,
that.
I think you don't want that fully, right? Like if something is very clearly broken and it like
Oh yeah,
sucks the enjoyment
gone.
out of the game, right? Like Elsa or Torch, right? Like I think I
Mhm.
made like a tweet or something a while ago, like where people are talking about like, bro, like why did people were so scared of like Prime Torch the way they talk about him? I was like, dude, if Prime Torch meta lasted for like another season, I genuinely believe this game would have died. Because like
I stopped playing the game, by the way, during that
oh
time.
yeah,
I,
see,
I did too.
like
As
dude,
a
like
content creator, I stopped. I literally, my momentum stopped. Like I was going up and up. I was still in the beginning, but I was still going up and up and up. And it was that, what was that, season 2, 3, something like that. I couldn't play the game. I was a tank main, and I'm sitting there, and there's legitimately Storm,
you're sitting
Johnny
there playing
Storm,
Mad,
Storm,
just
Iron
trying to
Man,
phone.
and I'm just trying to hit them in the sky, and like, my
Ah.
aim's not the greatest, and my teammates is sitting there like, guys, we should run something to stop the Flyers. What
Mhm.
the? There's 3 of them in the sky. I can't do anything about that, bro. Then
I,
that's when they gave Thing, if you remember Thing, they gave him
the flying punch.
the anti-flying punch,
Yeah,
which was, out of all
I,
players to give him that, was
that's
Thing.
so
But
yeah.
That has got to be the funniest addition.
That or the Human Torch dive, whatever that like Human Torch team up was the silliest thing I've. It's still in the game. I think it's still in the game, which is even crazier. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, Rivals has definitely turned their direction. Like, I definitely like understand Rivals' vision. I feel like I do. Maybe I don't. Maybe Guang Guan and Ziyang will pump fake us like they normally did. Like, it's really interesting. This is the first time we've had back to back hot fixes. Like Rivals never did hot fixes, by the way. They like for the majority of Rivals lifespan, I have never seen a hot patch or like a day one patch where they added or reduced more stuff. It wasn't until everybody was like when that big patch came out, I think 6.5, then they nerfed Phoenix, they nerfed Hela, they nerfed Hawkeye, they nerfed Gambit again. It still wasn't really enough on like the Phoenix Gambit. Then this season popped, and then they gave BP a double jump and like cooldown, and then like everybody got mad and like, oh, we have omnidirectional E. I'm like, why didn't like I felt like they're just sitting on this stuff. And they're like kind of like, wait, like, does the community like this? Does the community not like this? I don't know why they don't just like just put everything. Like, I'm 1,000% sure they sat on the omnidirectional kick and the spear cooldown. Like they had that in the like I almost think they were gonna release that in 7.5, but then they just did it in this season. Like I feel like they sit on a lot of stuff. And I think the Elsa nerf, like nerfing her base health, I think they were gonna also have these White Fox buffs as well. They were just waiting to see the community sentiment on White Fox. Like maybe I've got my tinfoil hat on. Maybe, and you guys can tell me in the comments, Shippy, you're crazy. They did this out of the goodness of their heart, or they did this because they listened to the community. And you're right. Marvel Rivals does have a very, attentive dev team. They are very much in tune with what the community's thinking. But like, I almost feel like they're just sitting on some of this stuff and waiting until a certain outcry happens. Like, it's funny. This is the only game I've seen where if you're a main of a hero, if you bitch hard enough, if you make enough noise, your hero will get some sort of changes.
I think Rivals for sure. Like one of the things I applaud Rivals for the most in a lot of my videos, and some people are like, "Damn, you're really glazing NetEase. They're not gonna sponsor you, bro. Whatever." One of the things I glaze them the most for is how responsive they are to the community. I think a lot of the time they do put out a patch and they're like, "Okay, this is what we have just in case someone like the community isn't happy
Yeah.
with it." This is the adjustment because obviously they're a business at the end of the day, so I'm sure they have contingency plans and things things that they've thought of to like, okay, if this goes wrong, we're gonna do this real quick. So yeah, I mean, from the conversations that people were having, like it's actually kind of funny because if you were on Twitter or if you were on TikTok during the season 7 release, you see the reactions for everybody in real time. They come out with the dev vision. Oh, Guang Guang and Ziyang, they're the best people of all time. Blah 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 blah. A few hours later, they drop the patch notes. We really get to see what's going on, and then it's fire Ziyang, fire Guang Guang, and
Covey, Covey is the
yeah.
guy. Shout out Covey, bro. He had the funniest video back to back. Oh, this season about to be great. This. Fire Ziyang, right?
I literally had in my notes, I could pull it up right now. I was planning to make a video that day. I said, Rivals is listening. Talk about positive changes short form. So that's how I'll like make my video
Yeah.
ideas. I'll put it in my
Topic
notes.
list. Yeah.
And I literally had that. I put that down, and then I got word, obviously, that the patch note or not patch notes. Yeah, the patch notes drop like a few hours earlier, and then go over patch notes, short form, long form, and in the middle of me doing the first video of glazing them, basically, the patch notes come out, and then that's I take a break for a little bit. I come back, I open up TikTok, I see Kovi's video, and bro is like, I forgot what he said, something about like hanging someone or like I don't remember, but it was very vulgar, and I was just dying, bro, because that we're buffing Black Panther, we're nerfing Bucky, and then you get the patch notes, and he gets a double jump, and Bucky gets like an inconsequential nerf. I just and then I made another video. I was like, talk about how Rivals is scared to make a change. Like that, this patch, I want to say, like, one of the things I took away from this patch is I really do feel like Rivals, NetEase is scared to make a change. Like they don't want to make a drastic change in the meta, right? They want to keep it how it is, because a lot of the things that were, changed or addressed, yes, it fixed some of the things, but at the same time, it really didn't change the meta too much. Like right now, you still get the same. I don't know if you guys have been keeping track of this, but you're still getting more or less the same comps and the same characters, right? Like I've seen a few more Black Panthers. I've seen a little bit more dive this season than I have before, but it's not really like the drastic shift that everybody was
I
painting this season out to be.
I do see less. I think the extra bans as well has kind of forced me to see different stuff. I do see less Phoenix because people are banning it more. I do see less Cloak and Dagger, funnily enough, because people are banning it more.
I kind of want to talk about that a little later, if that's fine.
Yeah. Oh, I got it in there. I got the title in there. I see different stuff. People are opening hella Namor more, right? Like they're going that. I'm like, all right, I gotta ban Namor a little bit more often. I yes and no, Egylou. I do say I see some of the same stuff, but also because of the extra bans and because some of the nerfs that happened, you are seeing other things being popped in. It's just like the fundamental counters are still there. Like if I see a BP, I'm swapping Thing. I am that guy. Unfortunately, all Black Panther players, I'm your worst nightmare. I like playing Thing. I will swap to it. Egylou knows. I'll swap to it. I'll have fun playing him. And that's just how it is.
The body cam will be turned off.
Dude,
turned off.
Dude, I just play Thing and I haymaker, I stun you, and it's fun for me. Like I like playing like a heavy CC tank playstyle. That's what I've always gravitated towards. But I don't know. I see it a yes and no. I think 7.5, like you guys have kind of talked about a little bit, that might be the great like restoration, or the like, oh, this is Rivals now. Like now we can play more mobile heroes. Now we can play stuff that has a little bit more mobility. But yeah, I think like a lot of the core stuff they did kind of fail to address. I mean, Elsa, obviously, Phoenix didn't really get touched that much. And then they tried to do it again in the patch notes. I mean, they also are really random with some of the stuff they do. Like I'm not gonna hate for the Magneto buff. Like I play Magneto, we all play Mag here. Why is this rock flying at 1,000 miles a second now, bro? Like what was?
Yeah, that was very random.
Dude, like, did he need that? Like, I don't know. Like, again, I've always theorized that NetEase has like data that they'll never share with us. How many Magneto ultimates are hitting targets? Like, I'm sure they have that data, and like they probably saw a lot of people missing Magrock or like not getting kills with Magrock, and they're like, okay, what do we do other than just increase the damage? Because I think if they increase the damage, everyone's gonna get pissed. You can't really get mad at like a trajectory speed thing. You know what I mean? Like, okay, it moves a little faster, but like, I don't know. It's really weird. They are scared to buff stuff, and they're also really random on that. We can talk about, let's talk about supports. I have a crazy question, and I apologize to all the support players that are going to be watching this. I'm going to pose this. Should supports be mad at Season 7? I'm not going to talk about the strike, because I think we've all kind of familiar with it. I made a video on it. It was a fake strike, kind of. It wasn't really like, it was fake controversy in my mind, but it was fun kind of playing it. But like, there is an overall sentiment for like a lot of supports. They're getting mad that their stuff's getting banned out. They're also getting mad that they don't build their ultimates as fast. Like, Is there a justification for that anger, given
No.
the state?
No. No.
Okay, Nenn, go.
So, like you said, with this whole quote second support strike, a lot of it was like kind of fake controversy. But there are a lot of people that were like very seriously behind it. And honestly, I think any good support, any good support was like automatically against it. At least from what I've seen. And any support player that is like, oh yeah, woohoo, cheer this on, whatever. That this talking point is right, this talking point is right, this talking point is right. I think it's more so of an outing on yourself as a support player if you supported this quote strike. In my opinion, I just feel like I will say okay, I will say the bans of like, dude, it happened in my placement matches where I wasn't in tune with the whole strike thing or like the whole like why it was happening. I was just kind of doing matches, and I saw my team and the enemy team sort of working together to ban as much supports as possible. And I was like, wait, what are we doing? And they're just like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? What are you doing? And I saw Cloak and Dagger. I saw Gambit, Invisible Woman, Luna Snow, Rocket Raccoon, all banned. I'm like, who are we supposed to play here then? And when I finally caught on like the whole, the support strike stuff, a majority of it was I think Cloak, Gambit, and Sue. Usually it was like 3 bands. I don't know where 5, support bands came from, but I saw that multiple times in my placement matches. Some of them were double bans, which I think they should still get rid of. But yeah, I'll let Egylou talk about it. But that's my basic take on it right now.
Listen, all I gotta say is a lot of you support players, a lot of you, a majority of you are getting exposed. Y'all got exposed. Now, what this should teach you is we should start picking up more of a less healbot supports. You know what I'm saying? This happened once. This might happen again. Let's say they add 4 bands in the future. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to pick up a third, like a off support or something, because a lot of people got exposed. And to the people who are genuinely going for like, yeah, we're gonna stop playing support. Let's let these DPS fend for themselves. You are a grown woman, a grown man. Grow up. like pick up a new character, or pick up a support that is not 2 rocks banging together, and I promise you might win. And then those are the same people who are gonna hop on the triple support whenever things are going bad, and they're gonna play 3 main healers, and we're gonna lose the game. So do yourself a favor, pick up a Loki, pick up a Mantis, pick up Adam Warlock. And if you want to hop on the third support, go ahead, play those in a triple support comp if you really want to play triple support. But
okay,
yeah,
sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. Your message just made me motivated to say, because I was kind of giving a filter take, all right, because I was worried like maybe I don't want to be too harsh. Okay, any Cloak and Dagger mains, just.
Oh, straight for the heart. Straight for the heart.
Maybe skip a minute ahead. I recommend it. It is time to stop playing a character, a tricycle character, to learn how to bike. You need to learn how to ride a bike now. You need to stop playing Cloak and Dagger, who, is a healbot character, and it's time to go with Luna Snow. Yeah, she might need to aim a little bit, shocker, but if you're upset that your, bot assisted healing character, Cloak and Dagger, is banned in a match, it's like, and here's an issue that I have with Cloak and Dagger as a character design wise, is that this character doesn't incentivize supports or whoever's playing that character to learn how to grow in the game. Like, I feel like Cloak and Dagger gets too much value for how accessible and easy she is, that like a lot of support players that I see, they still don't know cooldown management, right? Don't even get me started on Sue. And when that's taken away from them, you notice it. You see them like it's like they're playing like a completely different game. Like they just suddenly panic, and it's like their whole world is just gone once Cloak and Dagger or something like Sue Storm is gone. But I feel like Rivals did a mistake where could you imagine Scarlet Witch, right? She's like super easy, right? She's like an easy pick up to play character. But that kind of reflects on the value she gets. She's not really good, and I think that is good. I remember making a video talking about Scarlet Witch not being a quote failed hero, which a lot of people say she is. I don't know why. And I said that she's actually good design in my opinion because she's a character that anybody brand new could pick up and play, and you can learn like the basic fundamentals of the game. Whereas as the longer you play, it's like okay, you know this and that. And there comes a point where said player will eventually be like, okay, I feel like I got a good grasp about the game. I think it's time for me to move on from Scarlet Witch and pick somebody that requires a little bit more skill and gets a lot more value so that I can better myself and my team significantly, right? And I feel like Cloak and Dagger is the I don't want to call her the Wanda because she's like Wanda, but she gets insane value. Like imagine if Wanda did like Bucky levels of like damage or something like that. And I just
Don't give
I don't know.
Guangguan
I
ideas,
just
Nen. Don't even. You just fucking
I
spoke that into existence.
I just feel like a lot with Cloak and Dagger she's kind of a failed design. It's because not to sound like a broken record, but she doesn't incentivize support players to actually learn the game or leave their bubble of whatever little world they're in. And when it comes to the time where it's like, okay, you know, you have to play something else, they just they
There's
just
no evolution
collapse.
to the character. I mean, you have a character like for example, Captain America. When the first like season 0, season 1, everybody's like, "Oh, Captain America's garbage. What am I supposed to do with him? Stamina, he's just doing cardio." Now Captain America, or at least a few seasons ago, Captain America was a meta like
Yep.
especially if you watch pro
Yeah.
play, he
Captain
was a
America was dive. Yup. Venom
he was a
dive.
dive player. Captain
Yep.
America, Venom were two of the most prominently played characters, even though at the beginning of the season. So at the beginning of the game, they were looked at as these like, oh, like you're trolling if you're playing this character. But to bring it back of like whether they should be mad or not, I mean, everybody watching this video, at least a majority of people watching this video, their character has been in ban jail for at least a season minimum. For example, my character, my preferred characters to play are outside of Thor now because I was forced to pick up another character, right? But I was a Groot main when the game first started, and I loved playing Groot. I've had the most hours on Groot, and then one season people decided, hey, this character is too overpowered. Let's just ban him. All right, now my Groot is in ban jail, so now I gotta pick up Magneto. I gotta pick up Thor. I gotta pick up anything else. And then same thing happened with Daredevil when Daredevil dropped, and everybody was like, hey, Daredevil's kind of overtuned. All right, now I've built my whole kind of persona around this character. I love Daredevil, like the show, the comics, the character in the game. Now he was spent in banjo for like at least 3 seasons. So like I was forced to pick up other characters. So should they be mad? Absolutely not. Should they learn from it? Yes, that's the real question. Like that's what they should really be taking away from this is like, damn, 3 bans exposed me. I don't know how to play anything besides Cloak and Dagger and Invis. All right, bet. Let me pick up. Let me get in the lab and go learn Mantis. Let me get in the lab and go learn Loki, Adam, something like that.
And what's even crazier, and I will speak for the support players because for a lot of people, what they don't know, or maybe they do, I play both tank and support. Every game, Egylou knows, I will go in, I say, hey, I play tank, I play support. I can fill those two roles. And like, I feel like a lot of support players are maybe not as, you know, open to picking up a different role, right? Like, go play some tank. Go play some, hey, pick up a duelist bag. Go get a little bit of a different bag, right? You got Wendy's. Go try some Chick-fil-A. Go try some In-N-Out or like McDonald's or whatever, right? There's other bags. There's other bags you can access. And, I think it's tough because a lot of people like to play their preferred character. Like for the Cloak and Dagger players, I completely understand why you play the hero, right? I play Rocket. Like I like having to play Rocket when I get to like just chill out and play. But I also play Invis. I also play Jeff. I also I have a decent support bag, I would say, on top of my tank bag. So I think it's tough because I don't think supports have faced this kind of pressure before. I think that's like if you ask a lot of support players, when has more than 2 supports ever been banned out in the game? I can't think of a time. I can't think of a time where Cloak and Dagger was such a high priority ban up until season 7, right? Like where it trickled down. If you were Celestial and before, like if you're Celestial, I think you were still banning like certain supports even with the 2-ban system. But like there was I remember when like Luna Loki were the 2 bans that a lot of people were banning out. Or like if you were a Gambit player, it sucked to play. You still can't really play Gambit, unfortunately. But like Gambit is relatively new, so even if he's in your bag, you still have stuff to fall back on. Like I think this is the first season that the strategist role, the support role, has been pressured to, like to your point, Egylou, evolve, right? Or really figure out like what are they gonna do? Because a lot of their enjoyment is tied to certain characters, and I understand that completely. If I don't get to play some of my certain characters, I'm not gonna have fun. But when you're coming into a competitive mode, if you're queuing competitive, where there is a high possibility that you can get banned out, there's a high possibility that you won't get to play what you want to play, then you really have to like, maybe look within yourself or like kind of understand like, do I really want to play comp right now? Like, it's okay if you take a break. Egylou said it himself. Flyer meta, he didn't want to play the game. He didn't have motivation for it. I completely understand that. Some people, you don't have to subject yourself to this. You know what I mean? Like no one's forcing you to play Marvel Rivals. Cloak and Dagger players, you guys can wait. Like you guys can chill out. I'm not saying leave the game, but like, like it's fine.
Guangguan didn't send a black truck outside your house to make sure you played the game?
No.
Just me?
No, I have a camera in my room. I have a mandated hour. They're watching. No, but like, yeah, I think it's completely fine. And I think also the other aspect, and this is prevalent with all the roles. I don't think strategists this season are comfortable sucking on something like it's not, no. I'm like dead ass. Like if the cloak is gone, the invis is gone, and you're gonna have to play something like Atom, Luna, Ultron, stuff you don't play. A lot of people are afraid to like be ass. You know what I mean? Like they don't want to be like in a more nicer way. They're afraid to be the problem. And I think, like, ultimately, as a player, unless you're, like, top 500, there are going to be games where you just suck. Like I said, I had Hulk games where I was the problem. But, like, I understand I need to go through that pain.
And listen, I'm with the supports. Usually I'm on their side because a lot of times they get unjustified hate
100%,
playing the
100%.
game. Where it's like, oh, I'm not getting healed. This is usually a DPS player. I'm not getting healed enough. Brother, you're, like, in Narnia, bro. Like, how can they possibly get to you and heal you and keep you alive when you're not in position to, right? So I'm with them a lot of the times where I'm like, hey, like I'll open my mic. A lot of these support players will not, be on the mic. I'm like, yo, it is not a support issue, bro. It is not a support issue. It's on you.
I'm the tank. I'm watching you, bro, take an off angle with no comms and you're dying. Like they're not gonna help you.
Yeah. And to add on to this, so any support mains watching, don't think I'm just, a support hater, because I'm not, because in past I've kind of been on their side. I will say that a lot of it's not just a support issue that like, oh, this is like a gotcha moment to support players. There are a lot of tank and DPS players that kind of out themselves the moment that they don't have like a Sue or a Cloak and Dagger or a Gambit pumping heals up in their veins. And it's like, bro, this is kind of an outing to you, because then you just end up, I've seen so much tanks and DPS perform significantly worse in this season than any other season before, at least in my experience, because they'll be like, ha ha ha, yeah, like take that strategist, ban these characters, blah blah blah, and then in the end it's like, yo, you are one of those people that relied on these same strategies. So it's kind of like this sort of, I don't know if it's hypocrisy, but it's something where it's just like, it's
they don't know,
it's like two sides of the same coin.
Yeah, they don't know what they've lost until it's gone.
Yeah.
Look, I'll admit, I'm also like, oh shit, we don't really have a lot of healing. Luckily, like I would say I have pretty good fundamentals when it comes to tanking. We all played Overwatch. We know how important it is to use natural cover. That is something Vanguard tank players, I'm watching all you guys. You guys love eating damage for free, bro. Like
that's one of the main things. That's one of the main things when I notice in that, when Overwatch dropped that big update, I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll check it out, right? I get on the game. I'm thinking it's like, I've been playing Rivals for like 8 months at this point.
I get on the game. You think it's sweet?
I'm getting fried. I'm like, yo, where the heal? Like, I'm dead ass blaming my supports. I'm like, yo, does it take 4 to 6 business days to get me topped off so I can get back in the battle? They're like, yo, like, Like you, there's not rivals. Like you gotta wait, bro. Like we're not just heal bots. We gotta do other stuff in the game, and that's one of the main things that a lot of tank players don't understand is how to take damage, how to play cover, and understand that you by just eating damage with your face, like you are losing yourself games. Your supports you're in a impossible like uh position to get healed.
Yeah, I will say, I think Egylou, you brought up a really good point. This is not the first time this could happen to you, strategist players. Like this is the first time it's happened. It can happen in season 10 again. It could happen in season 9, right? Where people are catching on, and as NetEase adds more bans, or we get unique bans where the double banning is gone. Oh, you better believe that like people are gonna ban more supports. You better believe that as people catch on to like unfun things, this is also a symptom of like the ultimate slop, right? Like maybe NetEase has kind of created this problem themselves in a sense where like they made a lot of invulnerable ults like Luna, Invis, Cloak and Dagger. Obviously, Loki just copies. Like people are not going to have fun playing against that. And when you give them a get out of jail button, like, hey, boom, I press this button, you're not allowed to play this character anymore. They're going to take the easy way out. They're going to take the ban out, and they're going to say, hey, we're going to just ban the stuff that I don't like playing against. I'm a DPS player. If I'm a DPS player, right? If I'm playing Star-Lord or Punisher or whatever, and I have the ability to ban Cloak and Dagger, Invis, Gambit, or like Luna or whatever, why wouldn't I? Therefore, those bans empower me. So you kind of have to adjust as you see people adjusting to you. And that's where like getting the deeper bag, picking up the different role, picking up supports or different supports, like it's a group effort. But I think the systematic changes that Marvel Rivals is placing, it definitely is shifting the game. This was the start where like now game pace is different and all that kind of stuff. 7.5, people are gonna have to be more. I think what's gonna expose more, diving or like peeling. And I'm a look into my crystal ball. Everybody that's watching, Nostradamus or whatever. If you don't know how to peel now, it's going to get infinitely worse for your team in 7.5 because the reduction in CC means stuff like Venom, stuff like Captain America, Hulk, whatever dive tank, Angela, right? They are going to be living in your backline if you don't peel properly and you don't shoot the person that's getting CC'd. You cannot just CC and watch them die. You have to actually hit them now. And like, I think I don't know. That's my prediction for 7.5. What do you guys like? What do you think 7.5 is going to change?
Yeah, much like you were saying, I think I think season 7 is very interesting because we're seeing a lot with the whole support bans. Season 7 is like almost like a whole skill check for everybody in the entire game. Season 7, we're seeing it at the start with like, supports, whether they know how to play any other character besides Cloak and Dagger and Sue. And much like we were bringing up for season 7.5, with like, you're going to see a lot more of these mobile heavy heroes, dive heroes that are going to be a lot more prominent because of the CC changes, depending on how they are. They could be terrible for all we know. But it's going to be up to tank players and just DPS players to know when it's time to peel for your supports, because a lot of people, when it comes to like peel, I feel peel on like, unfortunately, is like a thing like the boy who cried wolf, where some people will say it so much, but it's not really necessary, or it isn't even about peeling in some situations. Like for example, like say, I don't know, it's like a case by case basis where say a magic, right? Just an okay character that goes into dive or just get into the backline to try to kill their Cloak and Sue. The Cloak and Sue can live off of magic, at least from what I've seen. Like a good Cloak and Sue, they can just live off. They can just patty cake. They can bully her. There's no need to peel because eventually she'll just go away. But like again, if like depending on your rank, if it's obviously not a good Cloak and Sue that you have, of course you're gonna have to peel. But I think you're gonna start seeing a lot of that sort of skill check in the more higher echelon of ranks um, when it comes to peeling, because now with the CC changes, you're gonna have moments where it's like, your supports really do need that peel when they got a Venom breathing down their neck, and with somebody else, God knows, God forbid, it's like a Daredevil, even though he got nerfed, but yeah, no, it's gonna be up to tanks and DPS players to know All right, we've ragged on supports for long enough. Let's just make sure we uphold our end of the bargain whenever they're asking for a proper appeal. Now that we are getting this CC change, because at the end of the day, this whole CC change, the people that it affects the most, in my opinion, are like certain tanks.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's just it's gonna be like a double-edged sword sort of thing where it's like this is a good thing, but it's gonna come at a cost where you are gonna have to sort of lock in. So yeah.
I think it's definitely gonna evolve the player base more, right? Like now
Hmm.
players are learning about neutral, they're getting better at neutral. Next patch, people are gonna more learn about peeling and like I think overall these patches are gonna make the player base overall better, right? Like um maybe in like another year's time, a gold player now is what we would consider like a GM player, or sorry, a gold player in 2 years now is like a GM player now. You know, kind of deal. Like where that's kind of what's happened with like Overwatch and League of Legends. I think a lot
Hmm.
of the changes, the overall player base may not like it at first, and you might get some friction. Might get people leaving, but there's also an influx of people that are like, oh, the game is way more fluid, it's more balanced, it's not as crazy with the ult slop and the CC chain. Like there's a big audience that I think NetEase understands they're missing out on with that. So that's my thing. I don't know. Iju, do you think these changes that they're implementing, the bigger ones, are overall better for the game? Like, are you ever fearful of like the audience leaving in that sense?
No, I'm never fearful of people leaving only because Rivals. I've said this since day one. Rivals is backed by the biggest superhero, one of the biggest IPs like in general. So people will always come back when characters get dropped, regardless of how the state of the game is. When popular characters get dropped, people will come back to the game. They will play the game. They will have fun, and then they'll leave. And then the people who are currently on the game during this period, like the tryhards, like myself, you and Nen, will always continue to be playing the game season through season, just because this is our kind of like our job, right? So it's like um, these are the people that Rivals will always rely on. And then obviously like the people that come in at the influx of the beginning of a season whenever a character drops. So I'm never nervous that this game's gonna die out within like talking numbers wise. I think the game might die out in the sense of like overall like popularity of how much it's talked about in media, and you've already seen that now. It's been on a decline in the sense of like how people talk about it, because season zero, season one, it was like everywhere. Like
You couldn't
sports
avoid it.
pages, yeah,
Yeah.
sports pages were posting about like Rivals and stuff like that. So like, um, yeah, but that's just nothing outside the norm of a live service multiplayer game.
Yeah, core audience I think is still going to be there always, and there's always opportunities for the core audience to grow as things come back. I think Rivals also has the unique thing where like, sure, if Overwatch drops like 5 heroes, people are going to come back. Rivals drops like Professor X, or they drop like Thanos, Doctor Doom. Better believe bunch of people are either coming back or a bunch of people that have never played are like, yo, Doctor Doom's in the game. Like, I want to go play as Doctor Doom or something like
Yeah.
that. So there's always that like because of the IP, there's always that ability, which is very unique to Rivals, where they can just drop a mega popular hero and like potentially gain a small like let's say they drop Doctor Doom, 10,000 people, 10,000, 20,000 new people come to the game, only like 1,000 people stay. That's 1,000 people that never played Rivals that are staying now.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
there's
Yeah.
League can't do that. Like Overwatch can't do that. Like none of the other games can do that because a lot of the other original characters, right? There's no sentimental value. There's no nostalgia or anything like that. So like I think it's very only there's another maybe there's one other game I think that can do that where like Pokemon can bring back different stuff like different starters from generations past and like get players coming back to the game maybe. But like Marvel is very unique in that effort. So yeah, I think you're right. You like they have a very unique situation with their IP. Um, I want to give
I mean, it's,
Nen
oh,
first.
I
Oh
was gonna
yeah,
say
yeah.
it's a
Go,
good.
go, go.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a good thing they didn't choose to ignore the Marvel IP and not go with their own OC hero shooter, which was a thing that was discussed behind the scenes with this game's development. Because man, if if this, I love Rivals. I like right now the current state it is, but things would have been a lot worse if this wasn't, attached to the Marvel IP.
Or what it was
So
like an
for
original hero shooter in the Marvel universe, but like not Marvel characters. That would have been even weirder. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it was supposed to be completely separate. I think from what I've read that it was supposed to
yeah,
be just an OC all hero shooter, right? Like think of like Luna Snow, but it, at the end, I don't know what happened behind the scenes, and they're just like, you know what? Now let's pull through with this Marvel deal, and then here we got this, this beautiful game. But yeah, no, much like Ichilu was saying, it's like the Rivals IP or the Marvel IP is always going to be what sort of pulls people back in, even if it's for a little bit. Any player gained per season is a net positive for NetEase. Um, so yeah, when they start, like you said, should be adding Dooms. You're gonna see like a huge influx of players, and then if like 1/10 of whatever numbers they pop up with that, it's a good thing, right? So yeah,
yeah,
no, Rivals will never die or anything like that. It is like, yeah, it's not a decline because what live service game doesn't go through like that time period where it's sort of not steals out, but it settles in to the landscape of live service games because there's like a whole ton of them,
yeah.
and people move on. Especially with like more casual players where they just kind of play with their bros and their friends and stuff like that. They'll just play whatever's more popular, or it's all really for mood. But to us who stick around with it, um, it it might seem like a bubble for some people where it's like, oh my god, the game's declining. What do we do? Like it's we're fine. We're fine.
Yeah, yeah. I think I find me a live service game that wouldn't kill to have like 150,000 player base. You know what I mean? Because they have console and they have
Yeah.
Steam, and like combining those, I think usually the estimates are anywhere from 100 to 150. Like, so many
Oh,
live service games would kill to have like 50,000 players consistently. You know what
mhm.
I mean?
And
So
they're actually introducing a Switch 2 version of it.
I have a
Yeah,
Switch
so
too, bro. I'm playing it on that. I'm gonna
yeah,
make a dive. Like, I'm gonna make an account and play dive on Nintendo to destroy the Nintendo people, bro.
it's gonna be great. It's
I
gonna
sound
be
like a
great, that's for
maniacal
sure.
villain, bro. I sound like a maniacal villain. I'm playing DPS on Switch. I don't. I'm gonna try to figure out if I can like stream it with like a capture card and stuff. But I'm actually so excited for Switch 2 Rivals because I think it's just gonna be like the funniest content ever in my
Them cloak
mind.
and
But
daggers are not gonna know what them BP hit.
dude, hey, with my joysticks, oh, bro, they're not even gonna detach it. Oh, you're done, bro. You're done. I don't gotta sit down and yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna give closing remarks. Ijilu, anything else like just like in Rivals general, like season 7, maybe some stuff that we didn't get to talk about, or obviously plug yourself. I'll have both Ijilu and Nenn's obviously channels and everything in the description below. You know how I operate, but yeah, anything else? Any closing remarks? I guess.
Yeah, man. Rivals is a great game, and it's definitely got a great future. And the changes and the strides they've made in season 7 gives me hope for the future. And as long as they continue listening to the community to a certain extent, and actually dropping characters that people care about, we and everyone that plays and enjoys this game will be in a will be in good hands. But other than that, that's it for me. My name's Egylou. I make content similar to Shibby and Nenn. I rant about the game and the community, and I also stream. So if you guys want to get VOD reviewed or just be there for some great content, pull up. Other than that, Shibby, it's been an absolute honor. And then it's been an absolute honor to sit down and talk about Rivals for an extended period of time. And yeah, shout out everybody that's gonna watch this.
Yeah. Nen, I asked you, man, Nen, when are you gonna stream, bro? Ask you a closing remark. When are you gonna start streaming?
um, I'm not so sure. Um, it's something I do want to do eventually, and I feel like I can do it. And I've had people ask me about streaming, but I don't know. I just don't feel like I'm the right time and place to do it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Closing remarks with rivals or anything like that.
So yeah, season 7 is some people. I understand why some people may not feel that like starstruck with season 7. And I get it, because it's the sort of thing where we weren't going to see all the huge changes that everybody would have want in one season. I've always said that season 7 was going to be a step in the right direction, and I know some people can get tired of hearing that term a lot. It's like, yo, dog, how much steps is it going to take to get to the finish line, you know? But I feel like seeing the direction that he's took so far with season 7 is a good sign, and it's only going to get better, hopefully, with season 7.5 and onwards. So I'm really curious to see what season 7.5 and season 8 do for the game from a meta perspective, balance perspective, and it's honestly a pleasure to meet you, Ijilu, and to keep talking to you, Chibi. So
Mhm.
it was a great time being here. Pleasure to speak with you two gentlemen. So I'm very much looking forward to the next time we get to yap about this game that we all love.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I'm really
Yeah.
happy with the co-hosts I chose. I love having both of you guys on and talking about the game, and that's just because of the community that we've all built, right? The communities that we've all kind of garnered together and everything like that, talking about the game. But I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your busy schedules to come meet with me and talk about Rivals. Thank you, everybody, for watching another episode of Rivals Unmuted. I read all your comments. Me, Egylou, Nenn, we all look at them. I really appreciate everybody that's enjoying this kind of content, whether you're driving home, whether you've got an hour and a half to kill one way or another, you're studying or something. I'm really glad that we're in your ears, whether you agree or disagree. Let me know down in the comment section below. But thank you guys so much, and I really enjoyed talking about Rivals. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications, as that all helps me out a ton. I try and respond to every single one of the comments in my videos because I generally do appreciate you guys taking time out of your busy schedules to leave one, as well as I love interacting with my own community. If you want to see more of my content, I stream over on Twitch about 3 to 4 times a week, starting around 7 p.m. PST. Over there, you'll get unedited versions of my videos, as well as we go over gameplay reviews, patch notes, and you guys can ask questions in the chat, and I respond pretty quickly. If you care more for short form content, I upload daily on both YouTube Shorts and TikTok. Over there, you'll get condensed versions of my videos, as well as stream highlights and my general thoughts on the game. All of that will be in the description box below, as well as a pop-up that will show up on the right side of the screen here telling you where to go and all my handles. I really do appreciate all of you, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.